Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Kirsty.
And this is our podcast covering the highs, lows, and realities of parenting a child with neurodiversity.
Each week we'll be sharing updates from our lives and hearing from a variety of guests about their advice and experiences.
This is Love Needs No Words.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Love Needs No Words. Half term is over. We made it. Woohoo!
I don't know if I feel like I've made it.
We're both,
This episode is fueled by tea and chocolate, and it should be fueled by something stronger. But I fear if I drink anything stronger, I'm just going to fall asleep midway through.
Poor Kirsty's absolutely full of cold. And then I went to bed a shivering mess last night because obviously, you know, there's colds and coughs and COVID everywhere. So we can't escape it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I feel like we've got so much to talk about because we've not done a podcast episode for you guys in ages. So should we start with the awards, because we haven't spoken to you since then? It was so good, wasn't it?
It was a really good night. It was so good, and we met some really great fun people as well when we were there, which was really nice. Just people who are kind of doing what we're doing, sitting in our front rooms, kitchens, bedrooms, just recording things that mean something to us. It was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we were gutted we didn't win. But it was such a good night, and yeah, we'll be back next year.
We'll be back next year. Fingers crossed for next year.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was really, really good. And yeah, thank you to all our guests for coming on, because you were the ones that got us there. So yeah, no, it was really, really fun. And so so how was your half term? Fill us in with how that's been.
Half term. Do you know what, actually it's been okay. So just to give a bit of context, Matt's been away working for the whole of half term and before, and all of October he's worked pretty much every single weekend bar one day. So I am running on absolute empty.
You are a legend.
I've been holding the fort down at home, which he's been working really, really hard, so it's not he wasn't off on a holiday, but yeah, it's been a tough gig. I think I am absolutely ready and need some kind of break. Yeah. I think just for my own sanity. But in terms of half term, I think I was way more apprehensive about how it was going to go than it actually did. We really got into a rhythm, and I think in some ways doing it on my own, actually we kind of got into this kind of space where we were just, routine was really, we were doing the same bedtime routine every single day, and actually it works. It so works for him. And then Matt's come back today and absolutely no fault of his own, but obviously Max is, well, both of them actually are a little bit kind of woo, and a bit absolutely, and they're excited and they're kind of like probably relieved to see him, and there's a lot of energy going on. So bedtime tonight was absolute carnage, and I'm just my patience is really low, because I'm like, actually we've been doing really, really great, and let's just not spoil that now. But I get it, it's just it is just a readjustment for everybody. But half term actually has been really, really good. And I don't know, this is probably not a great representation of my fun levels, but I asked Max today ahead of the podcast, what was your most exciting part of half term? What did you enjoy the most? And he said school holiday club. I was like, no, actually, to be fair, that's an absolute win.
That is an absolute bonus.
I'll take that. He went a couple of days actually, and he really loved both the days. So I think he's getting, really familiar now with, because it's quite similar to his after school club. I think I've spoken about this previously, but we've kind of landed on our feet a little bit with his school, in the sense of the after school provision and the school holiday club provision is run by the school, by the teaching assistants. So they know Max and they know him really well, and so they can support him. So it feels accessible. Whereas I think that if we didn't have that, it would be quite difficult, I think, for him to be able to access anything. And I totally get why so many families have this struggle. And actually, sort of from an outside looking in, Max probably could access that, in the sense of he understands, he can converse and such like. But I think the anxiety levels would be difficult, and I think that would probably show out in his behaviour that then probably wouldn't be very appropriate at a school holiday club. So we've been really, really fortunate, and actually I'm really glad that he enjoys going. So he went for a couple of days, which meant that I could give his sister some one-on-one time, because that's difficult when you're sort of doing it on your own, to be able to spread yourself between your
So,
children and give them what they need. So yeah, that was really, really helpful. And then it was my birthday during the week, so I had a lovely day with Max, actually. And honestly, it was like one of those days where they just wake up on the right side of the bed,
yeah.
and we just had the best day. And I don't know whether it was because it was one-on-one, I don't know whether it was
Yeah.
coincidence, but we just had a lovely time. Like we it wasn't anything really complicated. We went to go and get a drink, like a hot chocolate together, and picked up a puzzle on the way from a charity shop, so he sat there and did the puzzle. And then we went to a friend's, and he had a bit of a play date, which, you know, I've spoken about before. Play dates have always been tricky, but this was the first time ever that I've been able to sit there and actually have a conversation with my friend while he's off playing. And I wasn't
That's
actually
really nice.
even like, I wouldn't
Conscious
even,
of what you're
I
doing,
wouldn't
yeah.
even say I was particularly stressed. I was mindful, don't get me wrong. But actually, sorry, I'm really, really coldy, but I wasn't actually stressed. And I think that's the first time I've ever been to a play day. And I was with a lovely friend who's known us for a long, long time. And
Yeah.
her little boy and Max do really seem to like each other. So that's really, really nice. And it was a short play date as well. We were only there for maybe an hour and a half, before we had to whiz over to get Max's ears checked because he has got glue ear again. So
Oh,
that's not
yes.
ideal. Yeah, I don't know if I spoke about this on the previous record that we did, but sleep's been a massive issue
Yeah.
recently. So we have been sort of looking into why. And one of the things that came up is he said that he was complaining of a buzzing in his ear. So we went to the GP, and the GP said, yeah, he's got glue ear. So he's currently having treatment for that. But I took him back to the specialist who gave him grommets just to check it out. And he said, yes, he has got glue ear. We're going to try and treat it with nose drops and a couple of other treatments before, and hopefully it doesn't come to grommets again. He has to have another hearing test. But yeah, so we did that. But he actually, do you know what, again, another positive step forward. I don't know about you with Alex, but Max has always been very reticent in any kind of medical facility because of all the
They're
issues I
scarred,
think,
aren't they?
yeah, from all the issues he had as a baby, where he literally had recurrent ear infections, and it was pretty brutal. And bless him, you know, it was pulled through the ringer with that a little bit. So yeah, he actually, for the first time, we did a lot of kind of practicing beforehand. He's going to look in your ear and a little medical kit and blah blah blah. And we were going like, you know, he's probably going to want to look in your mouth, so we can go like you do at the dentist. And actually he did it. He actually
Brilliant.
did it. So it does make a huge difference, that preparation
That
part, which I
preparation.
am guilty of sometimes forgetting.
Yeah.
And that's a case in point when the school nurse came to do the nasal flu spray, and he point blank refused and was having
Yeah.
absolutely none of it because he was totally blindsided by
Yeah.
it. So yeah, it definitely goes to show the preparation that you need to put in beforehand. But yeah, just
That's brilliant.
it was exhausting. It has been exhausting, but it's been nice exhausting. So
Yeah.
that's been positive, because I honestly, you know, I thought it was going to be an absolute car crash of a week and that it was going to be a real struggle, but it wasn't. You know, he's been playing really well with train tracks at home and doing puzzles and such like. He's not really been showing too much interest in the television, a little bit, but not overly. So that's been really nice to see him play. And because there's only been me, he's kind of been forced a little bit to play on his own independently, which I've spoken about. Max struggles with that
really
massively. He hates spending any time on his own, and I get it, but he has been kind of forced to do some of that just because I can't be in much as he'd love me to, much as he expects me to, can't be in a million places all at once.
That's
so
quite
yeah,
good
that's
for
been
him,
nice to
really,
see.
wasn't it? Because it was kind of like you had no choice, so he had to kind of get used to it, which is really good. And it is really hard when you've got both of them, especially at the ages that they are, to find places to go and find things to do that they're both happy doing, and that you don't feel like you're going to lose your mind. So
and somewhere that they're safe is the reality. I mean, we went to the zoo the other day, and you know, Max's danger perception is still absolutely zero when he's kind of overexcited or in the wrong, in a mindset that means that he isn't focusing on that at all. And he literally just ran out in the road, like literally in front of a car, and I was like shouting, and he wasn't stopping. And thankfully a lady was able to stop him, because I was just that little bit further back because my daughter's so much slower. But he was all excited because he was with his cousin, and so he just ran straight into the road. And it's those moments where they kind of they blindside you sometimes.
Yeah, they
and
do.
It goes to show why you have to be constantly on alert. Now, the zoo, the cars travel really, really slowly, so the likelihood of him actually being hit in that situation was quite slim. But if that
Yeah.
had been anywhere else, then that really could have happened. So yeah, you're right. It's trying to find those places. Like, parks are just an absolute no-go, because they both want to do different things.
Yeah.
Neither of them are quite safe to be on their own,
Yeah.
and they do still massively struggle to play together.
Yeah.
That
And
is
also
something they do find difficult.
And also you come away feeling really stressed and you think, why have I put myself through this? Like, I think for people listening as well, I think we all have this kind of, well, mine's quite a slim list of places that I can take them both and know that I'm going to have a good time. They're both going to have a good time. I mean, I think, like you said, people's houses, if you can, is the best place, because at least they can play with toys that they don't have. So it's all a bit of a novelty. And even if you're just there for an hour, you know that they're safe. You can have a bit of a cup of tea and a chin wag with your friend, and then you're not being judged. I mean, that's a big thing. And then you can leave. But yeah, even there can be
I mean, we've found
as well,
that really
especially
difficult.
at weekends.
Yeah, 100%. And actually, most of the time, I find people on weekends have their own stuff going on, completely understandably.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you know, I found it easier knowing that I had a plan for almost every day, something to do. That definitely helped me, the structure of it. But yeah, I would say overall,
brilliant. The club, just having that club to go
amazing,
to, just
absolutely
even if it was
amazing.
one day, just to give you a bit of
100%,
respite. It's brilliant.
100%. So yeah, that was so I would say overall I smashed it.
I kept messaging Kirsty like, countdown, 4 days to go, like, how are you doing? And then yesterday I was like, he's home tomorrow. But yeah, you did really
Halloween
well.
was fun. Halloween was great fun.
Yeah.
Had some friends round, and they love trick-or-treating. I'm really lucky with this kind of dynamic where our children are kind of like, not exactly the same ages, but enough close enough that actually it just works. And Max likes control when he's playing, and actually my friend's daughter, she will say no and stuff, but she's kind of a little bit happier to kind of go with it to a certain degree. So that was really nice, and they loved trick-or-treating.
Oh, that's good.
Did you go trick-or-treating?
We did. I'm not a massive fan of trick-or-treating. I know people, I think you're either a fan or you're not, but I don't really like the concept of it. But if, like, next year, like, my daughter really wanted to go, or Alex really fancied it, I would go. But yeah, I just did like a little, no, I just did like a little bag. We met up with my niece and nephew, and I just hid little sweets around the garden. And then I just did a bag each and put some sweets in there. Because also with Alex, like, I don't want to put that pressure on him at the moment to, like, go out and knock on the doors, or, like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like he was quite ready for it. I think she definitely was. And yeah, I'll probably eat my words next year, because she'll be like, I want to go trick-or-treating. And then I'll be like, dressed up as a witch heading out.
You will. I think it depends on where you live as well, because where we live is a lot of young families. So actually there was loads of young children out, and it was all between the hours of 5 and 6:30. We only had one person knock on the door late. It was all really, really short. It was lovely. Like, he saw some of his friends from school and such, like, so it just felt it felt like a kind of sweet party event kind of situation.
A get together rather than,
really, really nice.
No, that's fair.
But yeah, I totally get why some people wouldn't want it, and also why some people it doesn't work for their families as well, because the expectation, you're right on it, for them to go up and say, maybe to say trick or treat, or even the noise of the doorbell going consistently, or Max enjoys it. He gets quite overexcited, but it's, as he's getting older, it's containable. But yeah, I mean, for many years, I don't think he would have got the concept of it at all.
No,
really, last year, I think, was the first year he was a bit like,
oh, I get this now.
But the challenge we have is around the sweets, because sweets send him absolutely mad. No, I chuck them out. Well, no, I don't chuck them out, but I hide them away, and then over the course of the year they just disappear, and that might have something to do with Matt and I, or it might not. But he can cope with like a chocolate or whatever, but he anything like Haribo sweets, and they send him absolutely crackers. So I have to be quite careful. I actually went to the supermarket with them, and I basically said to them, like, you can trade your sweets for a car, like a Hot Wheels car. So they did that, and they got a little car. And to be honest, they haven't really asked, but that does mean I can't use it as leverage for blackmail.
But yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, my God, the sweets are like never ending.
Yes, so
Like, where
many.
do they? Where do
So many.
stop?
Yeah, they had
But
literally
yeah.
a bucket full of sweets. So that's that's something that will find its way into my mouth or Matt's mouth over the
Well, it's only fair, isn't
365
it?
days until next Halloween.
Taking one for the team.
Absolutely. So tell me about your half term.
Yeah, we had a good week. We had a few wobbles from Alex where, and I'm sure there'll be people listening that can relate, that because the words are coming, and I'm sure you can relate actually with Max, but because the words are coming, we're getting this like element of frustration in Alex, which I've not seen before. And it is like he can't articulate what he wants to say. It's like it's all there now, but he can't articulate it. So it's happening mostly. So I'll use an example. We were out at a little farm which is local to us. We've got a yearly pass and he loves it there. And they've got this slide where you like literally let yourself go off of it, and it's quite high. And the fact that he even does that amazes me, but he does. And there was a guy on there who was telling him to sit properly because he was trying to go backwards on it. So he said to sit properly, and Alex shouted no at this guy because I think he was caught off guard. And then he came down and he was like, man, slide. And no. And I'm like, I know, darling, but the man said you can't sit that way. And it's like, he's trying to process what the man said. He's trying to process whether he can actually go back on the slide because he's not quite sure if that's now allowed. He's trying to process what I'm saying. So I'm trying to explain. And then he just said shoes and outside. So he was just like, as if like, I've had enough, I want to go. So John took him outside and then I left it for about 5 minutes because that's the problem. Is he still really enjoying playing? So it's like, well, I'm not going to like take us all out if she's still enjoying it. Anyway, 5 minutes went and he came back in and all was fine. But it's that whole thing where it's amazing that he's slowly but surely, you know, it's a marathon, not a sprint, being able to articulate to us how he's feeling and things. And like he's got the basics down, I would say. But it's things like that, the bigger ones, where you're having to explain to him, like, no, you can't go backwards on the slide. He also goes down and there's a massive ball pit at the end. And I know when he's in it because nobody's sliding down. And basically he's just in it playing. So I go up and I'm like, Alex, get out. And he's like, no, and then hides himself under all the balls. So John and I have to like dive in and drag him out. And it's all a joke, but again, it's that whole thing where it's like, you know exactly what you're doing now. It's not that you're not aware that you can't come out. So it's like this sort of cheeky side of him's coming out where he's being a little bit naughty. And it's that kind of, are you being naughty or are you not fully understanding what's being asked of you in certain situations?
I think it's sometimes as well, it's pushing boundaries and being able to insert himself and say, well, no, actually, I want to go down this way.
Yeah. And I think it is like, I sort of feel like, because we've been told he's sort of like a 2-year-old speech level. So motor skills and things are slightly ahead of that. But speech wise, he is probably at a 2-year-old level. Now, what would a 2-year-old do? They'd have a tantrum or they try and articulate what they wanted but get frustrated. So it's like, because it's happening in a 5-year-old body, it comes across different, you know, it just feels different. But if he was 2 and doing this, I would just think, oh, this is just typical 2-year-old behavior. So that's kind of what we're dealing with. And as I say, I've not seen this side of Alex before because he's so relaxed and timid and kissy and huggy. And I just haven't seen this kind of frustration, but it's completely valid because it's like, how annoying. Like it must all be there, but you can't get it out. And the only other thing I was going to mention, which was a bit stressful, was we had another balloon incident.
Oh, tell me.
So can laugh about it now, but I was on my own with the 2 kids. So, you know, you go into anything like this and it's like,
always when you're on your own.
It is. And I was like, do you know what? I've got this. I can do this. I know where we are with this place. It was again in a soft play. It all started out fine. He went off and it got to about 20 minutes in. And I was like, I'm absolutely nailing this. Like, I've got this. And then we came and sat down, had a snack, both chose what they wanted. And then somebody came in for a birthday holding a balloon. And I literally felt like going, oh no, get out. You need to leave now.
I appreciate the birthday, but you can't come in.
I literally was in my head like, oh, for fuck's sake. So anyway, absolutely beelined for this thing. And this is the situation I'm dealing with, and I don't know how to deal with it properly, or I'm trying to deal with it properly. So she's got this balloon. He's beelined. He said balloon. He's pointed. I'm like, no. And he's looking at me and he's like, I'm having it. I'm absolutely having it. So he gets up. I think it was like a Peppa Pig balloon as well. So Izzy's like, Peppa Pig. And I was like, stop encouraging it. So he grabs the balloon and legs it to the top of this soft play, right?
Oh, Amy.
So I then say to Izzy,
Oh no,
we need to go and get your brother. And she's like, all right, Mum, let's go.
I was
So I
like,
went up
we need
to
to go,
this
Izzy.
lady.
Actually, we just go.
I know. I said to this lady, I'm going to go and get the balloon. And you know, in those situations, I just said to John, like, you're already feeling like overwhelmed. And in those situations, I just really wish people would go, it's a balloon, darling. Don't worry about it. Honestly, like, it doesn't matter. But it was just this look.
Happen, did it?
No, it was the look she gave me that was like, you better bring that balloon back. And also, I was running up, 3 stories of this soft play. On the way up, I was thinking, half of me was thinking, bitch, like, you could have just been like supportive of me. And then the other side of me was going, why should they be? They don't understand your situation. Like, they don't know.
And they might have a child who's desperate for that balloon.
Yeah, it's
they
also
might be
their balloon.
It's their balloon. Their child. They might be thinking, oh no, my child's going to kick off because the balloon's been stolen. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So it's like 2 sides of it. So anyway, I knew what was going to happen. Like, I just could not explain to him that was not his balloon. And also, I've noticed, I know you've talked about this a lot, but tiredness is a massive impact on getting like, and yet it hasn't really been in the past, but now, again, I genuinely believe it because the words are coming. It's like the tiredness mixed with not being able to communicate properly and stuff. So he got very, very cross, and I wouldn't call it a meltdown, just got cross and just was like, and stormed off. And I thought, well, again, that's what a toddler would do, would just storm off and get cross. So I got the balloon, I went down, I said, I'm really sorry, my son's autistic, he doesn't understand. I said, you might be best hiding that out the way. Anyway, no remarks, just put it back where it was. And I was like, well, I've told you, so there's not much more I can do. Anyway,
don't tell me he went back for it.
He went back for it. So
oh no,
I turned around and he slowly.
I mean, to be fair, I think she was asking for it by that point. You'd warned her.
It's just awful, but he was doing this like weird little creep thing, and I just watched him like creeping along, and I was like, "This is just literally picture it." And I thought, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pretend I can't see. So I just walked off because I thought, I don't know what to do now. I've nothing, no more parenting skills left. So he grabbed it and it unlatched and went up to the sky. So yeah, absolutely horrendous. Curse.
Did you leave or did you stay?
Just stayed. Do you know what? There was a moment of, I think I need to leave now and just take them both. And then I thought, if you do that, what is this? You need to stay for you because it's so easy to run away in these situations.
I'm proud because I would have run away.
Well, yeah, and I was so close to, and I was on the verge of tears because it's just it's so hard because my daughter, I can explain to her, you don't touch that. That's somebody else's balloon.
Yeah. And even if they are cheeky and they took it, you know that if you did something appropriate in terms of explaining to them that no, and reiterating it and following through and all that good stuff that everybody talks about, it works for them. They will understand a consequence, etc. But it doesn't work.
Honestly,
Max is so impulsive. He would do it, not necessarily. Maybe it would be an element of the fact that he wanted the balloon, but part of it is like just the thrill of it, I think. And he cannot stop himself. And you can see it in his face. You can see it doesn't matter how many times I'm going to tell him, it's not going to get through because the sort of dopamine hit of doing it is so much stronger. The impulse control is so weak that he can't control. And it's really hard because I do get really annoyed. But then afterwards, I think I've got annoyed with you. But I don't know where the boundary lies here
Yes,
between
this is what I'm struggling with.
understanding and explaining to him that I understand why you're doing that, but it's still not okay. You
Yeah.
still can't do that, mate.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to find that balance, I find.
Yeah, really
Still not
difficult.
there.
Really
Difficult.
difficult. And I've never really had to be there, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
This is very new to me, having to have these conversations with him, get down on his level. You know, he would just, I don't even really think he would have noticed the balloon. So
Yeah.
that happened. And then after that, you know, he calmed down and he was up in the ball pit, and Izzy and I went up there, and the three of us, because everyone had gone down for the party, the three of us were playing in there, and we were like covering Alex with the balls, and then we were covering his, and we had such a lovely time. And I thought, if 5 minutes ago you would have left and this moment wouldn't
Yeah.
have happened. So this
Yeah,
is why it's so important, however hard or awkward that situation was, to push through it and
Yeah,
think,
well
no,
done.
I've got a right to be here. And yes, I know what he just did was not acceptable, but you know, I explained to you that he was autistic, explained to you that he probably
Yeah.
could try and beeline for it again. So anyway, that was that. And John arrived and he was like, everything all right? And I was like, there was a balloon, and he went, oh. And he went, the one on the ceiling by any chance? I was like,
Yeah.
yep. He was like, so guess who's carrying balloons around in their bag? Me.
Are you?
Yeah, because
you
I
can
just
blow them
think
up and
I've
give
got
them to
to,
people.
yeah, I've got to come up with a solution. So if there's a balloon
Clever.
and he wants it, I'm going to have the balloon. And then also what I'm going
Well
to do
done.
is Kirsty and
You're
I
a
are
good
going
mum.
to
You're a
I
good.
thought I've got to come up with solutions to this problem. But also Kirsty and I are going to go to SAA clothing in a couple of weeks. And I thought I'm going to get some, you know, jumpers and t-shirts that, you know, do spell it out a little bit more, because, you know, on the surface, unless you mention it, you just wouldn't realize, and that's of nobody's fault that Alex is autistic. So just having something to, you know, he doesn't like wearing the lanyards. If I'm wearing the lanyard, it doesn't really make any difference because I'm not always with him in the
And
soft play.
sometimes you
So.
don't want them to be
And
wearing
some
the
don't want,
lanyards as
and I
well.
also
Like,
don't want to have to keep explaining either, because
I
it's
know.
really exhausting.
It is really exhausting.
Yeah.
There's certain places where I'll put the lanyard on just because I don't want to have to explain, and it
Yeah.
kind of feels appropriate because I don't know, it might be a really busy place or whatever. Generally
Yeah.
speaking, I don't, but actually, yeah, it is a good way of obviously sharing with other people. Okay, there's, you know, something to be mindful of here.
Yeah.
But I don't want him. I don't know. I don't want him to have to wear it all the time. It's
Well,
fine.
no, exactly. They shouldn't have
I don't
to.
think he quite understands why he's wearing it, and that's the
No.
thing. Like, he sort of, Max is in this space where he doesn't even understand. Like, so he knows he's autistic, but he doesn't know what that means. So he would know if I asked him, he would say yes, he is, but he really doesn't know what that means. And I kind of, the only way I can kind of explain it to him is by saying, oh, you know, so and so that you know they're autistic, and so that you know they're autistic. Actually, they probably seem really different to him, because obviously everybody presents really differently. So I think it is just confusing, and I don't know maybe whether I shouldn't have said something or what, but we always took the kind of approach that we didn't really want it to be this big mammoth thing that kind of just came out. It was just something that we've always discussed openly. But yeah, he really doesn't get it at the moment, which is understandable, because he's 5.
Yeah, and I think you're dealing with it the best way, because, you know, like Alex that came on, Alex Richardson, he said he didn't know what autism was till he doesn't think the age of 10, but it was never kept from him. It was like that was the age he remembers kind of really understanding it. But yeah, no, I think,
and I want Max to advocate for himself as well, because he will be able to. You know, he's fortunate enough to have the ability to be able to speak for himself and such like. So he will be able to advocate for himself at some point. I don't know when that's going to be or what that will quite look like, but he will be able to get to that point. So yeah, when he's ready to, I want him to kind of have as many tools, I guess, as possible to be able to explain, you know,
exactly
why he might not like something, or why he needs to leave, or, you know, whatever. But yes.
Yeah, I think it will get easier, like, as the words get more and more, because he'll be able to articulate how he's feeling. But we've got communication boards for food, bucket time, his favorite films and programs, and we bought a load of new toys actually for half term, you know, some educational, some just fun ones. And we moved the Alexa out of the kitchen because he was becoming very distracted with playing the first few bars of different songs. So we thought if we just take that distraction away just to see, and yeah, he's back playing with his trains. Yeah, we've spoken about it before, haven't we, with technology? And I feel with Alex, it had a real place at the beginning. You know, his life was very scary, and I was very frightened of what was happening. And you know, it was Hey Dougie for Alex was a real safe space when, you know, the rest of the world was incredibly frightening for him. It was somewhere that he would go to and be really happy and really enjoy, you know, being sort of closed off from things. Where now, you know, the words are coming, it started to become just, it was a distraction. That's exactly the word. It was like, it was distracting him from role playing, it was distracting him from learning. But yeah, I mean, he still gets access to it in a different way, but really interesting. As soon as we took that Alexa away and we put all of his new toys up on a board, communication board, I've put a little video up. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet on our Instagram, but he now has started to say, I want train, or I want duck, or whatever the game is. And it's out of sight. So like he has to request it. So yeah, it's been brilliant to see. And every morning now he'll come down and say, I want duck, or I want train. And now we've started saying please on the end, which wasn't necessary, but I thought, I wonder if I could add another word. But yeah, it's brilliant. It's like he's really started to understand requests, which is great for us, and emotion. So we got this really cheap mirror. I'll put a video on later, but basically he has been saying I feel now, I feel tired, or
Wow.
I feel happy, or I feel sad, and copying. It's got the emotion above, like a little, you know, a child pulling the emotion, and he'll say I feel sad and then make the expression in the mirror. But this morning he was putting on his school uniform and he was getting upset, and he's like, I want mummy, I want daddy, I want grandma, I want granddad. And I said, I know, darling, but we've got to go to school today. And then we went downstairs and we were playing and stuff. And then just before he left, I said, Alex, I feel, so he like pressed it, and then he put excited. And I was like, oh, that's great. So he felt excited to go. So yeah, I mean, it's just allowing him to have that communication. And obviously at home it's quiet, it's calm, he's got access to picture boards everywhere, you know, it's just such a calming environment for him. But yeah, out and about you're going to have those moments where the world is just scary and overwhelming and he's not able to kind of regulate. But anyway, he had one-to-one swimming lesson with Max's swimming coach and really enjoyed that, so we're going to keep that up.
That's a good
And we met up with a little friend of his a couple of days over the summer, and that was just lovely. I put video up of that as well, so that was really nice. And yeah, I would just say we tested him. We did like a few things that we weren't sure whether he would enjoy or not, just to see how we get on. But yeah, overall, yeah, I think he had a good week, and I think as well he really enjoys the structure of going back to school. So we're kind of at that stage now. Yeah.
So he went back okay today?
Yeah, he went back fine. And yeah, they've said that he's sort of joining in with phonics in the morning, and that seems to be his thing at the moment. Maths used to be his thing, and now he's more interested in phonics, which I said, well, that makes sense because he's starting to really understand it now. So if anything, isn't it, you always enjoy the thing that you're best at. And yeah, he's joining in with assembly, going to a pantomime trip with school in November. Is the biggest thing for us is holding hands with Izzy walking to the park. So like, I couldn't get him to hold hands with anyone really other than me and John. So that's been really lovely to see. And yeah, I guess it's just the coughs and the colds. I always just worry that will send him backwards because, you know, you don't get as much sleep and everything like that. But yeah, I feel like school is a very safe place for him. Yeah. So yeah. What about Max? How did he get on?
Yeah, he went back okay. To be fair, he'd had such a sort of luxury over the half term of him being able to generally go at his own pace. Like even on the days where he had school holiday club, it didn't quite feel as rushed, which was ironic given that it was earlier. But yeah, it just felt really, really rushed. Like come on, eat something, you need to eat, you need to put your school uniform on, you need to blah blah blah, and he's like playing happily, and I'm kind of thinking, oh my goodness, like,
it's a
it's
real
lovely
shift,
when I see
isn't it?
him playing, and here I am tearing him away, but what do you do?
Yeah.
But yeah, he went fine, and actually oh bless, something I should mention, his teacher this year, she's made him a little space in the classroom which is just for him to go to for some peace and quiet and downtime. And in there, she asked me before half term, what does he like, what does he enjoy? I said, well, he loves trains. Like, that's always a win. So she's printed out lots of train pictures, she's put up a train timetable in there. It's just so thoughtful.
That's
it's
so amazing.
So thoughtful. Just those little things, just they really warm your heart, and you just think, this is someone who's kind of going out of their way to make a difference, and it will make a difference. And I really appreciate it. We really appreciate that kind of effort, because she didn't have to do it, but she did. And and he's really fond of his TAs and stuff, so that's really nice, and I think that's helped him.
That's really
in going back. And look, we get days that are better than others, of course, always. I don't think I will ever find a time where that at some point I'm not getting a call from the school. I can't imagine that. I can't see a future where that isn't the case. I just think that that's going to be our journey. But you know what, he went back. I take the wins where they come, and he had a good day today. So let's see about tomorrow, because I've got to take him for a blood test in the morning, and this could be fruity. And he was immediately like, will I be able to go to Funky Fingers? And I was like, no, you're going to miss Funky Fingers. And phonics, like, I don't know if we're going to get to phonics. And then he was like, reciting his timetable for the day, and I'm thinking, this isn't good, because he's going to be going. But what can you do? It's gonna done. And annoyingly, ideally we would have taken him last week, but I'm sure that those appointments are like gold dust, because he's going to see a play therapist at the hospital to have it done. Because because he just absolutely would not have it done otherwise. So unfortunately, I mean, it's 8:30 in the morning, so I say we're relatively fortunate, but I cannot tell you how many appointments he has coming up, because Max wears glasses. He needs this blood test. He has to have his eyes checked. He's got various other things that we have to go to. I literally had to write down all of these appointments, because I can't hold it in my head.
It is mad. I'll never forget. I don't think we mentioned it on here actually, but when me and you were laughing because we got out Alex and Max's red book, and Izzy and Izzy and Eva's little red book, and there was like nothing in it, because it just shows just how many appointments they had, and constantly at the hospital. Mad. Absolutely mad.
And it's kind of continued on. But there you go.
Oh, well, I'm glad that he got on all right and he went in okay. That's the main thing, isn't it?
He did.
So you up to much this week? Have you got anything planned?
I'm back to work this week. I was off last week whilst it was the half term, so I'm going back to work tomorrow. So just mainly focusing on that, to be honest. And other than that, it's I feel like I should say this for you, because whilst you're not a big fan of trick-or-treating, I know you love bonfire night. So
I love fireworks.
This is your time. And then at the weekend, Matt and I are going away for a night on our own. And I bet we won't sleep in, because your body just gets so used to waking up. But do you know what? We don't have to do anything, even if we wake up at 5 o'clock. So we are ready for that. We're just going for a spa break. We need it. It's really needed. So I'm this week I'm fully excited.
That's really nice. It's so important that you make time for yourself and make time for each other, because this is it's an emotional roller coaster anyway with children, but it's just an added extra, isn't it? And it does get much. I know not everybody is fortunate enough to go and get a break and get some respite, and it's really tough. But if you can, even just for an afternoon or for a day, it just resets you, doesn't it?
And we're not able to do it lots, but my sisters will have them every so often, so we do try and take advantage of that where we can. And on this occasion it is really needed. We are so appreciative of it. So basically the countdown to then for this week.
Well, enjoy that.
I need to get better.
Yeah, get
Focus.
better.
Loads of
Well,
oranges.
to be fair, even if you were just like monging out in a sauna or something.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, enjoy that.
Thank
And yeah, thanks everyone for listening, and speak to you next week.
See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.